That's right.
MILF lang ang kausap. From Franco Balabang, 0917-410-6109. 9. What do Muslims want now? What did they want during the Spanish, American, and other regimes? Is it any different from what Ishmael wanted? Did anything change from Abraham's time? Can there ever be a final solution to the Muslim quest? Are we going to be the ones to solve that problem which started in biblical times? Well, I thank you for the lesson of history on that one, Kap Pepe, no? But in a sense, maybe one of the problems we have is we keep talking about what the Muslims want. But there is no authoritative statement that says, this is what the Muslims want. Because probably from a negotiating standpoint, alam nila, magbigay sila ng listahan ngayon, alam nila some of that can be taken off the list and some, and replaced with something else. So, pagkatiwalaan ba yung salita na sinasabing ito ang lahat ng gusto namin? Pag naglagay sila ng Christmas list yan, or birthday list ng lahat ng kanilang gusto, ay baka 10 pahina kulang, no? Kung talagang sabihin na nyo lahat ng gusto nyo.
Well, in fairness to the Moros, no, of course they are also divided. But they have commonalities in their demands to our government. And Professor Dean Leonin is saying, we are not giving ARMM to the MILF. It's a straight statement. We are not giving ARMM to the MILF by talking with them.
Okay.
So he is really, in other words, he has in mind the whole Bangsamoro, not just the MILF.
Even the definition of the question of the Bangsamoro, I don't know whether we should accept that simply because it's what they want.
No, it's a self-definition. If they define themselves as Bangsamoro.
No, the Muslims define themselves as Moro.
Yes.
But not the Lumads, not the other tribes.
No, we are not saying. We are not saying.
But that is what they are saying in the previous MOA in the definition of the Bangsamoro people.
No, but the other minorities, there are so many indigenous peoples involved now. They ought to be given, they are being consulted. And any agreement must not be to their detriment. In other words, any agreement in territory that includes Lumads should also benefit the Lumads.
In the previous agreement, there was nothing there that protected any of the minority tribes. And this is, to me, a little bit, because our laws establish very clear procedures on how to document ancestral domains. Napakalinaw niyan. At ang daming proseso para ma-identify bago ma-aprobahan yung ancestral domains. Yeah. And all of that is being truncated and collapsed under this agreement, under the previous agreement that was forsaken. From 0917-605-5739, concerns of our leaders are focused on our economy, but it does not concern the poor people of the country. This is the problem in ARMM.
Well, they are among the poorest of the regions that we have.
I know that Manila has always been blamed for the problems of poverty, but is that really fair? Or have the Muslim leaders on their own, at least their traditional leaders, have they failed their own people? Kasi lumaman sila ng gusto, pero naiwan doon yung... I remember when we had the Mindanao Symposium, quite a few years ago, panahon pa ni FBR ito, when we had the vice chairman of the MNLF stand up there and says, we do not know what happened to the first 1 billion that the government gave the ARMM.
Wow.
I mean, I was kind of flabbergasted when this gentleman stood up there and very bluntly admitted that much of the money allocated for ARMM went to private pockets, and I think we're seeing some of them, that happening even today in the ARMM region. No? From Ding Dong of Manila, 0939-775-6998. Good evening. Describe briefly the procedure in the creation of the new sub-state. Is there such a procedure or is it simply by agreement? Wala, no? Yeah. Wala po tayong masasabi, wala kasing specific provision because it's not part of our constitution. It does not envision a sub-state in our constitution.
It would be cession, ceding of the territory.
Ceding. And that is not allowed in our constitution.
Oh.
All right,
because that is contrary to the purpose of government, which is to conserve and develop our patrimony. That would be the opposite.
Correct. From 0905-844-7485, ARMM by principle should be autonomous to some extent, but by practice is so much dependent to the national government, especially to Malacanang. hence it defeats the purpose. Is that a true and accurate statement? Because based on what we saw, at least published in the newspapers, the Kapepe, on how some leaders in the autonomous region have so enriched themselves, and all the talks about all the money that was discovered in their private, in their homes, etc., etc., and then all the ghost projects that COA says were done in the ARMM, na gumastos ng gusto ang gobyerno, pero wala namang nagawa. So would it be fair that to say that they are really dependent? I think many of the leaders in Mindanao, especially in some of the Muslim areas, hindi ko naman nila lahat, no, were also very adept at making commerce in their relationship with Malacanang. I mean, do you think that that's a reasonable statement, Kapepe?
The truth is that corruption and
it's not our monopoly.
Election is not the monopoly of the Moros. It's happening in many parts of the country and in our national government. As coming out in the media.
Then it's not fair to say that the poverty in the ARMM is due to Malacanang only. They must learn to share the blame.
Of course.
Yes. But there is poverty in most parts of the country. And in Metro Manila, there's so much poverty.
Maski na doon sa Ilocos, marami din.
So, sabi nga ni Presidente, kung walang corrupt, walang mahirap.
Ang mahirap laganap.
Ang daming mahirap. Ang ibig sabihin, corruption is everywhere.
Except that I have a difficult time swallowing such generalizations without some kind of qualification. 0949-173-9949. There will never be a lasting peace in Mindanao except to destroy all the Muslims, including no one. Look at Luzon, where practically all places are invaded by them. There is no peace.
I think that is a very prejudiced statement.
Medyo
and that is
over the hill.
That's part of the resentment of the Moros towards the Christian majority of this country. The Christians who dominate our government, who dominate power and authority and resources. That's so unfair, and you'll never have peace among our people. And we are a very multi-ethnic, multicultural, multilingual country.
And the more powerful and the stronger part ought to be able to behave with some or greater generosity towards the lesser.
Our constitution has borrowed from the Indonesians the term unity in diversity. We are supposed to have unity in diversity. That means a lot of tolerance and understanding and fairness.
Is it a question of historical redress? Do you factor this as part of our negotiations with the MILF, Alan?
Yes, there has to be. I think the material historical background is being left out, especially precisely that unimplemented Tripoli Agreement. The MNLF having been recognized already by the GRP as representative of the Bangsamoro. And that agreement was already sanctioned by 57 OIC countries. While this deal, this peace negotiations with Malaysia, is being sanctioned only by Malaysia. So the disparity is very clear, and that is why the questions being raised by other Muslim scholars is, what happened? Why are we not implementing the Tripoli Agreement? And then let the MNLF address the problem of the MILF, because it should be internal to them.
In the same manner that the MILF is the problem now with Commander Cato.
Yes,
diba?
Yes. That's right.
KPP, Commander Cato has said, we don't care about the deadline given by the MILF. Hindi ako babalik. Paano ngayon yan?
That's why, if we implement the Tripoli Agreement and then just support the MNLF to take care of their internal problems, because these are internal problems to the Moro people.
Do you think we should bring the MILF and the MNLF together and conclude this agreement not just with the MILF but including the MNLF within the framework of the Tripoli Agreement?
Yes.
Or is that already such a passé document that there is no hope at all to give it some substance at this time?
I have not heard of honest and thorough evaluation of what happened